All right, today we're going to take a look at Earth. Earth is a game that just arrived today. I'm very excited about it. I first featured it on my video, 5 games that are better than Wingspan. And for that video, all I had done was play Earth online on Tabletopia. And if you would like to check out the game online, I will leave a link in the description. But today, it's not online, it's the hard copy of the game, and we are about to open this up right now. So, I am actually so excited about this game that I have never done an unboxing on this channel before. Be very curious to hear your thoughts on it on this video. And if you like hearing about my initial impression, I'll tell you a few things about it that really impressed me. So this is a tableau building game, like so many other games, like Wingspan, like Ark Nova, like Terraforming Mars. But what really sets this one apart is that when a person chooses an action, it triggers effects on everybody else's player board, which means there's very little downtime in this game. So we've got a rule book, and in fact, here, this is exactly what I was talking about. There are essentially 4 actions that you can perform on your turn, and when you perform an action, you've got an effect that applies only to you, this top effect, and then the effect below applies to every other player. So every other player is going to share an effect with you. That's a lot like the game San Juan or Puerto Rico. And then it's also going to trigger card effects of cards that have a matching color. So of the 4 colors of types of cards that you can build that are fauna cards. Or sorry, flora cards. So let's read the description here. Earth, the soil that supports and sustains our beautiful planet, Earth. Now this is very interesting, by the way. When it's talking about Earth, you look at this and you're thinking like, oh, this is a game about the planet. This is about, geological features and plants and animals. And yes, that is what it's about, but it's more than just that. Earth is not just the planet. Earth is what we call soil. So when it says Earth, the soil that supports the planet Earth, it has 2 meanings, the soil and the planet. And in this game, it's the soil that is the currency for everything that you do. Over millions of years of evolution and adaptation, the flora and fauna of this unique planet have grown and developed into amazing life forms, creating symbiotic ecosystems and habitats. It's time to jump into these rich environments and create some amazing natural synergies that replicate and extrapolate on Earth's amazing versatility and plethora of natural resources. So that key word there, symbiotic. This game is all about symbiotic relationships between the cards that you build, because there are a lot of cards in this game. This is, you know what? I did not know this was going to come in the box. This is an achievement sheet. You can actually record the major events that happen as you play this game. That's really cool. I hope I see this a lot more. I have not found an achievement sheet in any game I've played yet. So this is where the objective cards are going to be played. That's going to be in the middle of the board, and then these are probably playable. Yes, these are the player boards. So they are identical, or they should be identical. So they've got the actions that I talked about earlier. These are good thickness to them. And here is my punch sheet. And one of the pieces has already fallen out. I'm sure, oh, here it is. Probably the active, no, this is the active player token. I'm not sure what this is. I don't remember this piece. Well, I think that some of these are player markers. I wonder if these little green are for extra. This is the growth markers. So, and these are the soil. So soil is like the currency in this game. And then what you have are these, I've got to remember what these are called. They're called canopy tokens. They are for growing trees. It's not, there it is. They are called canopies. Canopies and trunks. They are different types of growth tokens. And the green tokens are called sprouts. So sprouts, growth tokens, canopies. Your cards look like this, and they have a point value for what they're worth if they reach their full growth. So let's take a look at some of them. So in the course of the game, you're going to be growing a 4x4 tableau of cards, of different flora cards. Wow. Oh man, this is a lot of cards. This is just one of the decks. There are 4 decks that are all about the same size. Some of these are the fauna cards. So these ones are about the objectives. We'll take a look at the objectives too. I'm not going to open all of the decks on the video. I think so. You're going to have a draw deck, and the cards that you take are going to be giving you a few different uses. So one thing you can do with the cards is you can add them to your tableau. And when you add them to your tableau, you're paying the soil cost. So that's these tokens over here. And they're giving you points, and then you're getting additional points for growing those cards. And then they have an effect, or at least usually they have an effect at the bottom. And that bottom effect is triggered when a colored action is selected. So there are 3 types of colors. So if I choose the yellow action, which is going to let me draw cards and grow, then all of my yellow cards are going to have their event triggered as well. So this would allow for additional growth and sprouts. Now on your player board, you've got a space for, the player boards are identical, but when you start the game, you're going to have unique cards that describe your unique ecosystem. So, and that's what I found in this other deck over here. These are all basically objective cards. These are fauna cards. So 4 of those are going to be played or selected at the beginning of the game. These are the island cards, and so they give you unique characteristics. Now everybody receives an island card and they choose the side that they want. They receive a climate card, which is also double-sided with a different effect. I think island goes over here actually, because this is the geography card, which is also, again, double-sided. So you're getting 3 cards, and then you pick which side you want. And of course, you want to establish that, what did they call it? Synergy. I couldn't think of the word synergy. You want to establish that synergy. So here, if I use this side, it's saying that anytime I use a yellow action, I'm always getting a new soil. Or on the other side, every time I choose the yellow action, I can compost a card from my hand to add 3 sprout tokens. So compost, That was one of the other uses of the cards. If I'm holding one of these cards and I don't want to build it, or I don't need it, or it doesn't add to my ecosystem in a way that's really valuable to my strategy, what I can instead do is compost those cards. And composted cards are cards that can be used for paying costs in other points in the game, or they're going to be worth points at the end of the game. So you won't be, well, you'll be discarding once those cards are spent, but oftentimes during the game, when you're paying costs instead of discarding, you're putting them into compost. And you're using those composts to do things later in the game. You've got to pick a strategy over here based on your 3 cards that you have. And it also sets up your initial conditions. So on this island card, based on what I select, I might either start the game with 5 cards in hand, or actually on this card, they're both 5 cards. But there are others, like here's one. This one would let me start the game with 7 cards in hand, and I would compost 4, and I would get 4 soil. This one I would get 5 cards in hand, compost 1, and get 4 soil. And then I would have a special ability on green actions if I plant cards. And then I think I keep saying these incorrectly. This is the island card, this is the ecosystem or geography card. So Kilimanjaro, it's an objective here. I'm getting 5 points for abilities that match this color, or 10 points for every 2 green abilities. So I get to choose what kind of setup I want, and then for the course of the game, I'm going to be playing out my 4x4 grid on the side here. I'll be adding sprout tokens and growth tokens to increase their value or to pay for other kinds of costs. And at the end of the game, there are a lot of things to get points for. So at the end of the game, you're going to be adding up the base victory points from all of your island cards and your climate cards. So up in the corner, you're going to get victory cards. Add the base victory points for cards in your event space. Oh, I had forgotten to mention the event space. There are some cards that you'll discard over here. These are events. And let's see if there are any event cards in the decks that I've opened so far. I don't see them in this one. The event cards, maybe over here. I want to wrap this up, so if I don't have any open to look at, I might just describe it. The event cards are going to be like one-time events. They can be powerful, but if you use a lot of events, they're going to stack up, and each event card here is going to have a cost in victory points. So if you want to use that bonus, you can. It just costs you victory points at the end of the game. So the second thing here is you're going to add up the victory points from the cards in your event discard, and it could be negative if the events cost you victory points. And then you add up 1 victory point per card in your compost, add 1 victory point per sprout in your tableau, and then included with the cost, I guess, of the card, or not the victory points in the card, is the victory points that are given for the value of growth tokens that you've added. I think it's really interesting that they went with an abstract appearance for the growth tokens. So these represent trees and trunks, but as you can tell from the appearance, they're not very literal in that interpretation of tree and trunk. We got gray and yellow and green and red, and those colors, I think in other games, I expect to have a more literal manipulative, like a miniature or something. In this game, they kept it really simple. It's pretty, but it's like an abstract symbol that suggests a tree. And I don't have a problem with that at all. I really like that. This is a game I'm going to be playing all week. I'm very excited about it. the game Earth.